incredible performance in Game 5. It all came down to that one moment, goes back to the Yasuo and just went insane.
Yep, sounds like Rookie and KaKAO as Twisted Fate also sees a ban. That's 2 mid lane bans now for Qiao Gu up against IG. And Alistar going to hit the ban list there as well. IG keeping them pretty standard on the red side.
You would suspect then that the last ban would be that Ryze. That said, V isn't the greatest Ryze player, at least not what he's shown competitively in the LPL. So curious if they're going to keep that power pick off the board or perhaps open it up.
Well, Qiao Gu now, 5 or 6 seconds left to decide. They do ban Lulu, who's been a super popular pick in LPL playoffs.
Especially for Invictus in particular, they love their Lulu compositions. But on the other side, that is the staple ban. So Elise, Kalista, and Ryze all hit the bench on red side.
Yeah. And again, IG keeping it nice and set. There's already first pick Viktor for Doinb.
Something that should be pointed out is Qiao Gu have an incredible and ridiculous difference between their win rate on blue side and red side. And it just goes to show how well they understand their team and what their priority pick needs to be. So getting Doinb on that Viktor.
And like to extend that, the reason it is because whatever they pick as their first pick, they always build their team around it. Again, very smart team, good drafters, always execute well. But they have the team to do it. So whatever they think they're playing against, they'll take that first pick and they'll build everything around it. So look for Doinb. It's not going to be a Nautilus game this time around. Much more of a carry performance this time as Gragas is already locked in for IG.
And that's the thing, by not prioritizing Gragas and choosing to focus out Rookie, who will possibly go to his Azir this time around, it does leave open KaKAO's Gragas, and he's been a monster threat on it all through the LPL season.
Feels a bit weird to have Azir open.
Against Rookie especially, that they would prioritize. But it just, how high Kog'Maw is in priority, taking away that Lulu to deny the hyper carry synergy.
Yep, certainly seen Lulu do a lot of work, even without Kog'Maw in that last series as well. So Gragas, Braum, the first 2 for IG, lots of flexibility and plenty of power in their first 2 picks. And the nice thing is, they're the non-gold dependent champions. So you can put them in your jungle, put them in your support, and you're always going to have a good turn.
And Yasuo and Braum, of course, spiking up in popularity just because sieging towers and prioritizing the standing gold on the map is kind of the way to do things to snowball yourself into mid-game.
Yeah, I feel like AP Ezreal was a thing, and everyone's like, okay, Braum, Yasuo, really good, especially Braum against these champions.
It's like, hey, this works
and
against
And
everyone.
then AP Ezreal dropped off, like, oh wait, this champion's really good. Yeah. It was interesting how that all worked out here. As Moakai's locked in for V, he's played this countless times in his LPL career. And again, good role player, solid champion to start game 1 with.
They have a really good Baron fighting composition so far. Even from just the 2 picks of the Moakai and the Viktor, if that Thresh gets locked in, it's just another thing. And why I say Baron fighting composition is because from blue side, Viktor is so good at choking or blocking off those choke points that lead away from red side. So if you think, if you're on red side approaching the Baron pit, you have 2 little tunnels into the river, and Viktor's gravitational field, his Chaos Storm, his laser, they will just devastate you. So you're either flashing over the back of the pit or you're running into the enemy team.
Yep, and both of them are bad here, as we do have Kog'Maw actually locked in instead of the Thresh.
No need to pick up the Thresh because you already see the Braum.
Yep, makes sense here, but a strong pick, and Kog'Maw again continues to have quite high priority here in the LPL. You can see Rookie though, considering the Azir, it was left open. Kid, he's played a lot of Vayne and Kalista recently. One of them banned away means they consider these 2.
It's actually been his most effective champion for the LPL summer split. So again, normally known for his Corki, his Ez, but he's really shown up on the Vayne if he decides to lock it in. But no surprises that Rookie's going to go to Azir. Normally that's the champion that's banned away from him, but Doinb obviously feeling comfortable about the Viktor into Azir matchup.
Doinb's played a lot of Viktor, so that doesn't really surprise me, but we'll see if it costs Qiao Gu here, as he has been one of the best looking mid laners in this particular patch. But Kid swaps away last second. Tristana or Azir, their last 2 picks.
That's actually a very big comfort pick for Kid, going back to his Tristana. So not a Trinity Force AD carry user, but he does have a legacy run with Tristana. Should be right at home.
Not bad against Kog'Maw, depending on your timing window, so I can kind of see what Kid wants to do here. But Qiao Gu do have a team comp to complete here. Started well, they've got the solo laners locked down, they've got their strong AD carry. It's simply a matter of how do they want to complete this team comp.
I suspect that TCT is either going to look towards Janna or, I was going to say, not Alistar, but Thresh, especially for that Kog'Maw. I can understand the want to go Alistar. He's still going to provide decent disengage as well as offer this team some secondary hard engage, especially if Swift is going to go back to his Nidalee, which does lock in.
I was going to say, we had the Elise ban, but Swift, a very aggressive jungler, has Nidalee constantly banned away from him, and Alistar Nidalee will complete their team comp. Not many people play this jungler anymore.
It's just the idea that Swift is so aggressive. He's going to be the most proactive player on the map, especially during the early game. And on the other side against Invictus, you would think that it would be KaKAO, but it's actually Zzitai as the most proactive early game member. Not that KaKAO isn't central and the spine of Invictus Gaming, but Zzitai will always try to win his lane. So 9 times out of 10, when a first blood happens, it's between KaKAO and Zzitai.
And I feel like KaKAO's sort of chilled out a little bit, to be honest. He has had more aggressive games, but likes to farm up a bit more trust, I guess, in the mid-game power of his mid laner in particular, and just in general the metagame.
Well, it
also a bit more mid-game team fighting.
Yeah, and it just works to the fact that Invictus Gaming, you know, we call them the chameleons of the LPL. They don't have a really definitive style, but since their match against EDG in the regular season, they've started to team fight a lot more now. That dropped the ball against Vici, where they quickly picked it up and managed to turn into that team fighting team, although we will have a Nautilus in the top lane.
Nautilus top. That's usually the Doinb special over on Qiao Gu, but a big tank there to match the Moakai for IG.
But it just lends the fact that KaKAO is fine to power farm, and more importantly that Invictus are fine to wait until late game and look towards a 5v5. But that's incredibly terrifying against a team like Qiao Gu.
Especially when Swift is on a champion like Nidalee. So again, not many people playing this pick anymore. We saw Beast play it yesterday, I believe, on Snake, and didn't have as good a time as he would have liked with it, but Swift is one of the few players, probably with Spirit and maybe KaKAO, that still gets away with a champion this aggressive from the jungle.
It offers him just so much mobility, control over his jungle, and his ability to augment his AD carry to assist with siege, not just with the poke from the spear, but the primal surge attack speed increase.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I think both teams have drafted excellently here for game number 1, which means you should have a fun start to the series. Coach is going to shake hands. They'll be happy with those drafts. I'll get into our matchups. Just short, as we start in the top lane, it is V on Heck. Oh, no, it's not Hecarim, that's Moakai.
You're just so used to seeing it.
I really am. And then Zzitai on Nautilus, so matching the tanks there.
We see a lot of top Nautilus if you're new to the LPL. It started with Aluka, and it's going to continue with Zzitai here.
Certainly is, as we see the jungle matchup now. A big key factor between these two teams is their aggressive jungler. Swift on Nidalee versus KaKAO's Gragas. Watch for Swift to get nice and in his face, as Doinb, with that first pick Viktor, is going to go up against rookie's Azir.
So many comfort picks in this mid lane. Again, Doinb knew that this was going to come out. A lot of bans thrown at rookie, so you suspect that the Azir will be the play.
Certainly here is TNC. Going to go to Kog'Maw, a little bit less aggressive than something like his Lucian from the very early days of summer, but Kid's going to go to Comfort as well on Tristana. Both carry sim fine, as we'll round things out in the bottom lane with TCT on Alistar. Not too bad over against Kitties' Braum.
I actually really like Braum into Alistar, despite the fact that this was picked reverse, that Alistar was picked into Braum, just because if Ali goes in on your carry, Braum can either quickly reposition himself to be defensive or go and try to tag the enemy carry.
Yeah, I think there's lots of counterplay here. Again, lots of engaged, big tanky supports, and we'll see how it all pans out here in game number 1. Let's get on to the Rift. And here we are as we open up the best of 5 here in our second LPL Summer semi-final. Playoffs have delivered thus far for Oscar, and that's for sure. And Qiao Gu and IG are going to see who gets the date with LGD in the finals and who gets to play EDG for the 3rd, 4th place. No matter what happens, it's going to be tough.
And again, Qiao Gu had the higher seeding, but only by 1 placement. Invictus Gaming did come in 3rd, Qiao Gu into that 2nd spot, but they have not performed well in a best of 5 as TCT is caught out.
Yep, problems there as the stun already in. And that's good damage down for IG.
That said, it won't mean much for him. Didn't burn any summoners. He's going to go ahead and back.
And now Swift is like, all right, I can do this too, KaKAO. As Rookie joins in just to kick them out of the jungle. But Swift going to put some traps down, try and get a little bit of vision, as he's going to recall for some health as well.
Curious what other vision either teams are going to acquire. We do see Kid kind of poking his head onto the ramp, but no, it's going to be pretty much standard 5-point and looks like standard lanes from both teams.
And this is interesting because I guess we've just watched LGD and we're so used to lane swaps all over the place. But these two teams in particular feel like they're much more comfortable in the standard setup. Doinb does get a nice ward down. Rookie's going to get some poke down as a result, but I'm curious, especially about your thoughts on the 2v2 matchup. Because remember, Kid picked this Trist into the Kog'Maw, and Kog'Maw's been on an absolute tear in playoffs.
Well, Kog'Maw really doesn't get his strength into lane. Now, naturally, because his W has no mana cost, it helps for whittling down opponents. But he doesn't have nearly the control over the creep wave that Tristana will have with the explosive shot. So typically, Kog has to wait until level 6, where power will start swinging back to him. But we do have a bit of a counterplay on this red buff.
Quite the bait here as Qiao Gu have started the Krog. Splash forward, finds KaKAO. Little too aggressive. The buff does go over, and KaKAO will body slam his way to safety. Now Swift going to try and chase them down, but I cannot believe IG got away with that.
Really brilliant play from KaKAO. He doesn't even have to burn his flash there. In fact, he gets 2 summoners off of Alistar and gets the red buff.
Been tagged by a trap, and the blue buff is watered, but KaKAO, knowing all this, is going to do his wolves. Really clever pathing from IG.
And this is something that I really like about standard lane matchups, is it means that all of the pressure is on the jungler to impact the maps versus the macro map movements. And a good Swift to KaKAO, as Swift is now trying to make him pay.
KaKAO's only level 2. Swift needs to land the spear. Doesn't quite get there, but he's going to take the wolves.
But this is what standard lanes does. It's a jungle versus jungle matchup. You have Swift, you have KaKAO. They're both incredibly strong. Let them go at it.
And they are going at it so far as KaKAO goes back away to his Raptors. Swift is going to take his blue buff, so is not intent on getting 3 buffed here, although might still. We'll see how their blue buff goes on the other side, but at the very least, KaKAO is having some trouble there with no health there.
He'll have to back after this.
Probably be safe enough.
Is he going to die?
I hope not. That'll be real awkward for KaKAO.
No,
he'll be fine. Just manages to get it, but doesn't get level 3. Swift getting blue buff, going to run straight to his, you have to think.
Yeah, you're right. More importantly, it means that Swift will not get 3 buffed and possibly might look for a gank on Rookie here in the mid lane. Nope, just going to go ahead and go around.
Yeah, checked it out, but instead decides to get in and amongst the Raptor camp, and then I'll go back over to his side of the jungle. So lots of early aggression here. KaKAO with a nice creative steal with a bit of help from his duo lane. But as it all stands, Swift is going to make sure he gets his buffs, and we'll be about even here in 4 minutes.
But this is what I was talking about in the 2v2 lane matchup. The fact that Tristana has more tools to impact and control the minion wave with the explosive shot gets the push and the level advantage lead on TNT and TCT. So at least until Kog'Maw gets level 6 and he gets his sit and spit, Kid and Kitty should be perfectly fine down in this lane.
See Doinb just farming it up. Actually doing nicely against Rookie, who's making sure to respect the range of Viktor there, who does good damage with his lasers. Top lane as well, Zzitai actually forced back from an early V teleport to get his second Doran's ring. He's going to go back and do pretty much the exact same thing. So all square back in the top lane as well.
It's going to be a wet noodle fight for majority up into this top lane. What's his face? Zzitai.
Yep.
My favorite player. No. Nautilus top has more control of the creep wave with the rip side, so we'll see if he tries to abuse that, if he's fine just to let the creep wave center and continue to farm this one out. Again, typically Zzitai is the most proactive member on the map, even when he's on tanks like Moakai or Trundle. See if he does the same thing on Nautilus. As we actually see Swift keeping his head up there. Yeah,
I like what Swift is doing. We got spotted by a ward here, and Zzitai fairly tanky. Going to be a tricky gank. He does land some damage, but going to hook away to his turret, and Swift, that's about all he had in him for that gank, because Doinb low on mana, going to get chunked out by Rookie.
How this matchup works is Azir typically has control of it in the early phase just because he's going to be able to abuse with the Sand Soldiers and the auto attack range there. It starts to shift as soon as Viktor makes his initial back, upgrades the Hex Core, and then gets enough levels where he can start re-clearing the wave and hold Azir down. But if Rookie can get a good lead in the levels probably 1 through 8, Azir can take control of this lane.
Rookie right now is actually going back. So he'll get an item, which is nice. Pindish Codex actually fixed up, but falls slightly behind NCS as he walks back to his lane. Doinb, though, just trying to get all these creeps, has to last hit them all with his auto attack. So it'll take a while, but he'll get there eventually, and then probably go back and get the Hex Core upgrade you described.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's important here is just the back timing for both these mid laners, but Viktor is just so cost efficient in his early itemization, spending that 1,000 gold, getting the evolution point, just the immediate power that it gives, versus Azir having to wait for his completed initial item.
And there it is. Doinb going to pick up some wards, get that Hex Core upgrade, and get a biscuit for himself as bottom lane now. Swift peeking his head around for a gank, is going to go Runeglaive by the looks of things. Not surprising at all. Probably expecting close to a full carry build here from Swift.
Yeah, he likes to do the Runeglaive into either a Roa or sometimes a delayed and late tier. It's a very carry-oriented Nidalee build, trying to chunk out and do massive damage with those spears. And this is what we talked about, in the standard lane phase. This is KaKAO versus Swift.
Yep, and right now you've seen the battle back and forth. Swift with a slightly faster clear time. He's ahead on creeps by a couple, but all quiet now, and no first blood just yet for either side. So we've had the first initial backs. The top laners are still fighting it out. No teleports up just yet. We're going to be up to first blue buff soon as well. Zzitai going to try and make a fight of it, but like you said already, lots of wet noodles.
And we have very similar team comps from across Qiao Gu and Invictus Gaming. Again, IG, more of a chameleon of the LPL. They have been shown more of a recent preference for team fighting, is again Swift peeking his head into KaKAO's jungle. The only real difference between these comps, because they're both about creating space for their AD carry, is actually Swift's role versus KaKAO's role. But
ooh, good
TNT
combo there from
in.
TCT. Kid's actually flushed out. He's going to get tagged by a spear. Swift will dive in, and that's a good first blood for Kog'Maw, as now Kitties going to get chased down as well. He will live, but his AD carry is not so lucky.
And you have to suspect this from Qiao Gu's bot lane, but more importantly, IG's bot lane is so low pressure or so passive. KaKAO really doesn't spend a lot of time down here, so just getting a free and clean gank.
And you know that's great for Swift, and like you said, passive certainly for Kid and Kitties. Not to say that they are bad players by any stretch, but there's more of that low econ style. They like to farm up and fight in the mid game.
They don't eat up the resources for Invictus. It's mostly about, again, KaKAO bouncing between Zzitai and Rookie in particular.
Well, Swift as a result does get a kill down there. And a Sheen will now be up for Kog'Maw. TNT can continue some of that pressure. As we and Zzitai having another battle, that cannon creep's probably doing more damage than the Nautilus.
But again, it just goes back to the primary difference between these two comps. They're all about their AD carries, creating space. You have secondary damage threats in the mid lane between Viktor and Azir. But Nidalee being a carry versus Gragas being a disengage in another part of that front line. Swift needs to get the snowball going if this pick is going to matter late.
Well, he did get the first part of the snowball, so good to get an assist there. He's got his Sheen up now as well, so can get even more aggressive. You see Braum actually clearing wards out from the blue. Smart stuff there from Kitties. Probably expecting that to be a point of contention. As you can see, we've got people roaming over there already.
Second rotation, especially with bot lane having that kill advantage and transferring it to the Sheen. I think they're going to try to invade this with their power spike.
Kitties barely misses getting speared to the face there. Does clear the wards as well, but Kitties will go back with his sights then and put another down. Yeah,
problem is the fact that Rookie has complete control of the mid lane right now because Doinb doesn't have a lot of mana, which is why you see the pings on the mid lane. So Swift and Kitties are going to go ahead and pull, Swift and TCT are going to go ahead and pull off of this blue buff because Azir is beating Viktor.
Yep, you can see now Azir will go and get the blue buff instead. So a smart play there from both sides, just sort of push and pull as Rookie does get himself the blue. But of course, Doinb's going to have his up soon. Actually going to go back first. Get a bit more mana, get some items going. And again, we'll reset. It's just that first blood in the bottom lane, but if Nidalee can get any more work done, look for Swift to really take over the mid game here.
A lot of kill pressure now on the bottom side of the map, especially because TNT has his ultimate available. Again, this is when we start to see the transition to Kog'Maw taking power.
TNT looking good.
Good, though, on the top side of the map. The Twisted Advance will give him a free spear, as long as there's no creeps blocking it.
Not sure is enough damage, but he can give it a go. There's V going to line things up. Creep's sort of in the way there. Swift knows that he has to be careful, but he leaps back in. The ulti's out there as well. Good flash and hook there from Zzitai. But Swift is going to follow in. The spear will miss, and that's going to be all she wrote.
I was going to say, if that spear connected, they possibly could have looked for a dive with the dredge lying down, but good disengage from Zzitai.
Swift was going in if that spear landed. Don't even worry about that.
And it's just the power of Moakai and how great he is to gank for, especially when you have a skill shot-based jungler like Lisa and like Nidalee, you know, giving that Twisted Advance the free immobile target to hit. Unfortunately, hero creep is standing in the way.
That creep doing work there, but Zzitai burns his summoners, gets out. And Doinb is going to get his blue buff now as well. So Swift at least gets the pressure down he wants. Not too upset by all that's happening here. We check back in with the mid lane as they'll battle with their blue buffs. We've got the second Hex Core upgrade for Doinb. So we're going to have 2 evolution points now. And Rookie doing something that we've seen a lot of recently on Azir. Seems to be rushing that Nash's Tooth.
Suspect then that he's also going to look for the Rylai's fairly early rotation into his build, just because it gives you that 40% slow on the Sand Soldier auto attack. You can't get away from that.
No, I mean, Azir's had a number of changes moving into this patch, but that Rylai's change sort of kept him where he was as far as power goes. Still a really good pick. And
it just works so well with their composition, again, creating time, creating space for their hyper carry and Tristana to just have an elongated team fight. But here we go. Doinb now level 8, level 9, able to freely clear out the back creep wave with his laser. So this is when Viktor starts to get power back in the lane.
Yeah, you can see Qiao Gu actually hitting some decent items on the other sides as well. We've got Righteous Glory completed nice and early for V before boots, so those teleports going to be nice and high impact. And Runeglaive done for Nidalee as Swift continues to try and find pressure. But KaKAO's found his way into the bottom lane now.
Does have Cask available, so he could attempt to force TNT or TCT off of the tower. That said, with Alistar level 6, this is still a risky gank.
Going to go in for it. Oh, the flash almost tagged him. TNT's going to get knocked up by Kitties. Great knock up there from TCT. Kitties going to get headbutted towards the tower as well as V. He will dive his way down. Zzitai's going to join in as well, and TNT, who will get the first kill, but a hook from Zzitai's going to be answered by the heal. They're still chasing him in. They'll get the dive down. Kog'Maw passive is actually going to be quite big here as Zzitai eats a good amount of damage. TCT, another follow-up headbutt pulverized combo, and as he is running in, but the flash is out. Doinb's going to flash for the next kill. And Rookie has to run away as Qiao Gu win 3 for 1. Now Swift lands the spear. He's going to look for the dive. Doinb's going to start things off. The heal's down there as well. But Swift's happy to chase. He does so much damage. The ult though from Rookie might be enough. Swift will fall and Rookie gets the outplay.
Okay, Rookie somewhat brings that back for Invictus in the end, but Qiao Gu still well and ahead after all is said and done. A fantastic flash from TNT to dodge the initial cask.
See, mid lane is there. Doinb looking a little open mouth after that. Didn't expect Swift to get outplayed by Rookie, but Rookie, ever the mid laner.
This is why you don't let him have Azir, but here's the replay. Now what I want you to show, that flash from TNT to make sure that he's not immediately pushed back into danger. He will eventually go down, but not without putting so much damage. Kitties, like you said, had a fantastic pulverize, pushes 2 targets back into the tower over the course of this fight. And here we go, TNT falling down, but the cavalry has already arrived. Qiao Gu making the better collapses. Doinb gets here first.
Yep, and that's big. Doinb managing to race his way in. Flashes everywhere, and the Rookie right towards the end, making it stylish. As Swift, you can see the damage he's started to do already.
And this is about trying to appropriate the tower aggro. Unfortunately for Doinb, he's not able to connect on the laser. Fantastic Emperor's Divide and Flash.
I only just noticed that V flashed straight into the wall as well. Couldn't get under it with his W, couldn't get in range. And it meant that that kill they tried to lock down just led to Swift's death instead. But Qiao Gu still 2,000 gold up. Kog'Maw Trinity Force, need to see Large Rod, and a decent amount of items on the top side as well. In fact, Sidestone looking at now.
This is the most important aspect after it's all said and done. 5 kills on the board. Kog'Maw is 2-1-3, 100% kill participation, and having the completed Trinity Force at 14 minutes in the game. That is a massive power spike, and that means that Qiao Gu are guaranteed dragon.
More than happy to take this out. Swift neutral damage is pretty high. He's going to be comfortably taking that. It's actually TCT that gets the last hit because Swift is saving his smite.
Wants to punish KaKAO as much as possible. It looks like we will have a blue contest, Doinb, in a much healthier place with the upgraded Hex Core as well as that needlessly large rod in his back pocket.
Probably most importantly, like last time, actually has a mana pool this time.
Yep.
Going to be able to contest in, and Swift more than happy to just force a fight here. Doinb's in range as well. Does have his Chaos Storm ready. You have to be careful. They're getting 5-man or 4-man.
Just the power of Kog'Maw right now. You know, Qiao Gu recognizing that TNT is so much stronger than Kid, though Kid did manage to get his back in there and have the Blade of the Rune King.
Like what Swift is doing here, throwing out spears, getting mana back from his Rune Blade. Very cute. But Qiao Gu can't find a clean entry here as IG.
They don't need to, though. Just continue to poke and whittle away. Throw Nidalee spears, like you said, get mana back off the Rune Blade, put out some lasers.
And now take the drone blue. Oh, Swift does get it. TCT. Pulverize is down as the Chaos Storm's down out as well. TCT going to get the first kill onto KaKAO. T. And almost getting himself stunned up there by Trist plus Braum, but Qiao Gu get the blue and get the kill. Just
the power of Viktor, and again, Qiao Gu understanding the composition when they wanted to approach that fight. Lay down the lasers, lay down the poke before you look for the all-in engage, and unfortunately for IG, not willing to pull the trigger to look for the hard engage or disengage off the blue buff.
No, couldn't get it there. And Qiao Gu continue to get themselves further and further ahead, almost 3,000 gold ahead now after that little pick-off around the blue buff. And Swift, who does currently have a Ruby Crystal, I'm guessing that'll be a Sidestone. But I'm curious to see how aggressive he goes with his builders. Actually might be looking for another dive instead. Might make a tower instead.
He doesn't necessarily have to go into that full damage mode simply because Doinb and TNT are so healthy and so far ahead of the clock right now that he can afford to be more of a frontline tanky Nidalee.
See where he wants to go as far as directions in the build order are, but V and Zzitai again having a fun time. Zzitai actually getting decent lead as far as CS goes. Trying to trade some damage in again. Not a whole lot going on here as far as kill potential in the 1v1 top lane matchup, but V again, sitting in the lane. He has 4 kill participations out of 6. He's getting farm. This is exactly where V wants to be.
Yeah, and it's not where Zzitai wants to be. We talked about how Zzitai is the most proactive member on Invictus Gaming's map. He always tries to look for the outplay and the kill potential. So picks like Aurelia, picks like Trundle, they do wonders for him because he wants to be aggressive. He wants to fight. Not that he can't play the tanks, but it just doesn't fit in his MO. And I think, frankly, this draft phase really punished IG.
By the looks of things, yes, as Doinb does not get knocked back there. Pops his Ghost as well, and KaKAO, realizing 1v1 versus Viktor, doesn't really fancy it. Swift is going to sweep in, though, as well. Just trying to donate blue buff and saw the commotion. A little back away here. Just, again, 2v2 in the mid lane. Just a couple of blows traded here and there.
A little bit scary though. Doinb really didn't have the mana pool necessary should everyone pull the trigger on that, but they're going to go ahead and give the 1-0-1 Viktor some respect and just back away.
Yeah, and I think so. I think it's a smart choice. We saw what happened around the blue buff. As speaking of, TCT roams back in to keep this jungle warded. The amount of wards that have been in this bottom side jungle in particular, really playing again around this Nidalee pick from Qiao Gu.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, keeping that deep vision down, tracking where KaKAO is and meeting him at every corner. I mean, we've had, what, 2 blue buff contests, so both rotations expect that to go down for a third if Qiao Gu continue to hold on to their lead, because they're excellent at understanding when they're ahead and pressing that in. Like
you mentioned before, same thing in the bottom side for that exact reason. TNT knows he's much stronger than Kid with that Trinity Force. He's able to just bully him off the lane with TCT. Just playing bodyguard right now, right up in front, knowing that if they make a misstep, they can get a kill, and KaKAO's going to wander down as the tower does fall.
I was going to say, meanwhile, KaKAO sneaking into the back of the lane, but there's no reason for them to continue forward and chase now. Kog'Maw does have the range advantage over Tristana for now. Naturally, she gets more levels. That will start to even itself out.
Got 25 or 30 CS ahead for TNT. Means he's in a happy place on Kog'Maw. And like we've said, he's gone to a lot more of these scaling carries. He's still the same sort of player, can play low econ, even on the likes of Kog'Maw and Vayne, but he's gotten a bit more attention for his team, just, I guess, based on shifts in the metagame, and it's still benefiting him. He can play with resources as well.
Well, you also have to think that the patches are going to be like an ecosystem, and I think the biggest thing was control mages were so strong, and just because Kog'Maw and Vayne in particular, although hold on, TCT may be caught out.
Pops his ulti, KaKAO's going to run in as well. The stun is there, does get it. And the ulti's going to wear off soon. TCT trying to buy some time. He kites his way in, but Zzitai gets a great hook after porting down. The flash is out, but it's not enough as Doinb going straight in. Gets Kid instantly with his ultimate as Rookie's going to ride in now as well. KaKAO going to alley-oop there into Doinb as TNT is dishing out the hurt. But he's now kind of cut out in the front line. Swift, though, going to try and ravage KaKAO as he jumps over the Azir wall. And the flash is in there again. TNT will flash out from the hook. So aggressive there with the Summoner Spells. KaKAO's going to chase in. They're trying to get him dead, but they can't get it. And Qiao Gu get the ace.
An ace for 2, and that's the difference between these two compositions. They're both team fight. They both excel in small, tight quarters with the train. The AoE from Azir, the AoE from Viktor. But Nidalee, Swift's Nidalee versus KaKAO's Gragas. Just the difference in damage. Swift getting into the back of the fight. So this, honestly, this looks great initially for IG. They get the jump on the team fight. They're able to make a pick. That said, TCT eats up so much with the unbreakable will there, the Alistar ult. As soon as I see Doinb come down, I'm like, oh no, this is a choke point. This is Viktor. Qiao Gu love to fight around this because it stacks Viktor's AoE so well. But here comes Swift to change everything. Gets into the backline, annihilates Viktor, and just the difference between Nidalee and Gragas, because he got the early kills, because he got the snowball, he has the power to do this. Tags TNT with the heal to save his life, and cleans up the back half of that fight.
And that's Swift. Great map, great situational awareness. Always looking to try and carry in a great fight there for Qiao Gu overall. As he's got a Rod of Ages. It wasn't a side stone, excuse me. It's just the roll build instead. As they steal blue once more. I know, I got tricked.
So did I. I was like, you know, he could probably go more utility-oriented because Kog'Maw and Viktor are so far. He's like, what? Come on, I'm Swift.
Exactly. And that's how he plays here. Because you are going to get Dragon number 2 out for Qiao Gu. Nidalee ravaging through this objective. As Swift will take it out again, saving his smite. Might have had a second charge up there after the blue steal, which they also got. And all of a sudden, Qiao Gu find themselves significantly far ahead to start this game off. They're at what? 7,500 gold up.
They completely own Invictus Gaming's jungle right now. So what they're doing is it's about siege. So picking up this little Kog'Maw, moving him to the mid lane, although Swift is looking to assassinate.
Tags Rookie there with a spear. Rookie's like, I don't really fancy what's going on here. We talk about poke champions versus Azir. In a small way, Swift is fulfilling that role.
Nidalee's love doing this, standing out to Fog of War, throwing spears from the side,
Rookie's
fish in a barrel.
So sick of this game as TNT and TCT with all that poke will combine and take out the outer mid lane turret.
Likewise, there is a pressure point built up onto the bottom side, but instead of prioritizing the tower, they're going to go ahead and try to siege up what they assume is a red buff. It is not. It is an empty pit of sadness and dreams.
Well, it's still objectives to be taken here as Doinb is pushing out bottom side as well. Got himself a Zhonya's Hourglass all completed. Now going to go back home as Swift continues to put this jungle on farm.
And this is why Nidalee's such a massive pick for Swift. Not only does it fit in his MO of wanting to be that carry-oriented.
Kick goodbye. Tried to 1v1 Viktor, who's hiding in a brush. Not a good plan.
That's just upsetting.
Maybe for IG. So Doinb is very happy.
No, Swift, carry-oriented jungler, but more importantly, the mobility and the speed that Nidalee offers him to get around the map and to impact every single lane almost simultaneously.
Yeah, and we've seen that time and time again. His team is supporting him in their pushes as Qiao Gu straight to the Baron. Never mind Doinb, who's just drawing attention.
But this makes perfect sense. You just had the completed Blade of the Ruined King on TNT, likewise the Primal Surge and the Shred that Nidalee's going to offer and then augment onto this little Kog'Maw. IG posturing to fight for it, though.
Yeah, they get a good ward down. Nice intuition there from Invictus Gaming. And they'll get Qiao Gu off the Baron. It was a good attempt, like you mentioned, but will not be taken this time.
IG may not have a defined style of League of Legends, but they will always fight you on the Baron pit.
Yeah, that's certainly true.
It's the one consistent thing about them.
Rookie getting stronger as well. He's got his Nashes. He's got just about anything, honestly, from those two items. But a needlessly large rod and the Ant Tome ready to build out whichever next item he fancies, whether that's Rylai's or Zhonya's or Death Cap. If I missed one, I'm sorry. But there are lots of options there.
Just start listing off all of the AD items.
Oh, not anymore.
Since the ingredients were changed.
Oh, no. It's so many.
Okay. At this point in the game, with Dragon not there again, Qiao Gu are in siege mode. The most important objective will be that mid-tier tower, just because it'll grant them the most passive vision and map control. That said, the bottom tier tower is actually fairly low because Doinb was whittling it down earlier. And I believe Dragon's probably, I feel like it's going to be like 2 minutes, 30 seconds that we're about to see that timer pop up. So Kitties placing and refreshing his deep vision in Invictus Gaming's blue side.
Ooh, Swift to KaKAO. Get a battle once again. TCT is also here for the assist, but Rookie will threaten. They'll move their way out.
Yep.
KaKAO, he's having trouble.
So set down your deep vision in blue side and create pressure points in mid and bottom. You see Doinb down in the bottom starting to prep that wave. Want to make sure that TNT and Doinb are kept separate so that Viktor and Kog'Maw aren't splitting their farm. They're both continuing to get all their gold.
KaKAO, hello. Looks for the initiation. TCT gets knocked back in with the ulti. Pops his as well just to soak up some of the damage, but there's no real teammates left here. We'll get slowed down again as Zzitai actually forced out a flash. A great hook on the TNT.
Wow,
V's going to dive in there as well, but he's still alive. TCT in there as well. Swift's going to jump straight into the backside and assassinate Rookie. TCT with a huge knock-up. Zombie there on the choke point. Gets massive damage out there as well to shred down a few more. And Qiao Gu still haven't lost a man as IG lose 3.
That was a 4v5 for about 20 minutes until Doinb had to walk from bot all the way up to get involved in the back half of the fight. Didn't even get a chance to move his Chaos Storm over the majority of Invictus Gaming members, but with that, they turn on the Baron.
Straight back to the Baron as well as TCT has been roaring up in a brush from about 100 health. KaKAO's going to get caught out. He'll headbutt him away. He actually misses him over the ridge, but he gets more than enough CC to get him away from Baron.
Beautiful posturing from TCT right there. And on this Alistar pick, 1, 1, and 8 out of 15 kills. TCT has been incredible.
Certainly has. And Qiao Gu playing well together. We said everyone on the team can be a playmaker, and I think in this game, each one of them have made plays so far in the first 25 minutes of game number 1.
They just won a 4v5. Yeah, Doinb got there at the very end, but he pretty much showed up, dropped his laser, and was like, see ya. Yeah,
and that's all he needed to do, to be perfectly honest. The rest of the team set it up nicely. Even TCT, looking like he was caught out there, turned that around with a nice collapse from the rest of Qiao Gu. I guess excluding Doinb. His rookie, he has the Ludens. That was the item he chose. That was one of the ones we missed. But Doinb's going to chase him off the blue buff once again.
I actually really like the early adaptation.
Might even fight him, but KaKAO wants to go back over. Does get pulverized by TCT. Pushes him away to prevent that.
Chaos Storm curves around the side there to continue to chase Rookie. No, I actually really like the adaptation of Rookie to look towards Ludens here, just because he knows he's facing down across from the Baron buff. So it's going to offer him a lot more wave clear and possibly buy Invictus Gaming some much-needed breathing room and time against this siege.
Well, we get a bit more room to IG as TNT betrays his mid laner with red buff, stealing away that blue, but once again, Rookie does not get it. And Qiao Gu are not stopping on the siege. That's one of the nice functions of this comp. It actually, especially when they're ahead, comes together very nicely in sieges.
Again, if they're ahead, the beautiful thing about Nidalee is if she has the creep wave on you, naturally she can keep throwing those spears because there's less of your minions in front to block. But if you ever siege onto her, kind of loses her worth.
Certainly does, but Qiao Gu have gotten themselves a monumental lead in game number 1. We're approaching 15k as TNT jukes away from that. Going to turn it on to Kid. Kid doesn't really have the damage to go down, but Rookie does barely, and Kid will hop away to safety, but 1v3, TNT almost made that work.
But meanwhile, IG put so many resources top that V does find a free tower in the bottom side.
And now the teleport's coming down as well. Hook does land in, but TCT is going to chase through. V's more than happy to tie them up as TCT is going to look for a pick here. Swift finds a spear into Kitties. They just need to delay them for a little bit longer. Rookie poking from around the side, doing nice damage. Does right in, looks for the ulti, doesn't find it, and Doinb takes him out. Bit of a misstep there from Azir. Qiao Gu now diving the top lane tower. KaKAO gets a huge ulti, but Doinb's going to pop the Zhonya's. Will still fall by the looks of things. Does die to Kid, but Qiao Gu is still in a bad situation. Almost made it work.
Again, another 4v5. Kog'Maw wasn't in that fight at all. Still dead. Actually just came back to life, and now Doinb goes down. Kid will pick up the shutdown bonus there, so sigh of relief a bit for Invictus Gaming. We'll see if they can continue to stall this game out long enough to make this Tristana relevant.
And look, yeah, the trades are good here for IG because they're still getting some gold. Qiao Gu might be playing a little too aggressively.
But I feel like that's the perfect way to describe Qiao Gu, getting the snowball. Nidalee just encapsulates them so well. That snowball champion, the high mobility, the high aggression.
Surprised TNT is even here, to be honest. That dragon did not stand a chance against Swift, who has himself the Rune Glaive, the cooldown boots, a blue elixir, and then of course his fully stacked Rod Evaders are almost there with 9 stacks, and a Rylai's Crystal Scepter. Swift is going full-on Bruiser AP Nidalee.
I actually like the fact that he's still offering his team a bit of a tanky frontline, you know, taking the health off the Rylai's as well as the Rod of Ages, but still being Swift.
Yeah, that's about as, I think it's about as far in that direction as we'll go on this champion. He's like, all right, I've done my job.
Rylai's, that's a defensive item, right?
I have some health items. The rest is up to you, team. And they've been doing a great job as well. Infinity Edge almost completed for TNT. Doinb is massive right now with the Morellonomicon though, just for a bit of extra cost-efficient fun. And now TCT is going to go once more as Kid barely jumps himself to safety.
And you have massive CS discrepancies between every single member of Qiao Gu, particularly that jungle. 155 to 92. That's incredible because the majority of that is jungle creeps.
Yep, and that's the power of Nidalee once again, especially when Ahead just ravages through the jungle. We've seen Swift hop through about every camp.
And IG, they normally don't lane swap. They're a very standard lane team, but I feel like you have to lane swap against Qiao Gu. You can't just give Swift the run to meet you head on head. You have to hide him, protect the jungle, transition into vertical jungle, even it out and wait until the big team fights. But IG, it's not something that comes naturally to them.
No, and especially in this jungle matchup, I'd agree. I think in other ones, more standard ones perhaps, you can get away with it as they do try going on to Doinb. Zzitai gonna look for the initiation, but
nice
a good
pass.
cast. Huge knockups there as well as they're trying to make it work, but Swift just jumps in. He'll assassinate a few more. Rookie is already dead. KaKAO's gonna get locked up, and V and TCT are tanking every tower shot, and Kid, he'll get destroyed by the Kog'Maw. Looks like he died, but he is still up. And it's another race there they get to, but Swift gets himself a triple.
That was best case scenario for Invictus Gaming. That was the best layering of their abilities. They can't ask for anything better, but the gold deficit is just too massive at this point. Qiao Gu will surely close this out.
And IG will surrender the game. Qiao Gu get themselves close to 20,000 gold up in game number 1. And in just under 30 minutes time, QG's aggression overpowers IG.
I have to go back to the top lane pick. I know this sounds weird, but Zzitai on Nautilus. Not that he can't play it, but play to your comfort. Give him a carry champion. If you guys are just going to sit and elongate a lane phase, give Qiao Gu standard lanes, this is what's going to happen. Massive CS discrepancies across every single lane. Swift invading, being more aggressive than KaKAO, and you're just going to lose. It's like passively losing the game. Just gave it away.
And look, mid lane was fine. You can see Doinb there on your screen looking happy. Rookie looking significantly less so than who came out of that game. And you know, KaKAO and Rookie, they've certainly mixed up their pace. They've adjusted to the metagame, but Swift has only one speed. It is obscenely fast and forward. And they just couldn't handle the pressure. Even, I mean, for me, it was mostly Nidalee. Like, KaKAO can, sorry.
It was all Nidalee.
Swift can play other champions, but here's Nidalee. There's a reason why it's been banned so much against it. No,
I completely agree. Swift, you know, put the acceleration on, drove the pace of that game, especially on the bottom lane. Early gank on TNT and TCT, finding the snowball, abusing the power spike off of that Trinity Force. But, gee, this is not their style.
No, and that's the right spot to put the pressure as well. We talk about Doinb. He's on Viktor. He can just play the farm game. That's fine. V plays the farm game. That's sort of his job. He'll stay in the top lane for as long as he possibly can, making sure he gets his farm. So go bottom lane. And what happens? Kog'Maw gets 5 kill participations in 15 minutes and takes over the game.
I like how we have to say kill participation because, again, it's still Swift. That's the thing. TNT is a very low econ AD carry. He doesn't normally get the kills, but he still does a fantastic job with the limited gold resource that he gets. Most of it goes on Swift.
Yeah, it's true. He got some kills, though, did TNT. Yeah. Got at least enough there to just get forward. By the time that game was ending, he was on his way to Infinity Edge at 30 minutes and just destroying people.
But we said this, you know, watching IG versus Vici, they were struggling to out-teamfight Vici for the majority of that series. Now, they did come back with a reverse sweep. Very possible. All of those players are veterans, but not looking good so far against Qiao Gu.
Not at least for game number 1. Let's get a little bit more insight as we go out to the war room with